On the last episode, we explored all we could in the Redwoods National Forest, and now we're heading up the coast to Olympic National Park, Washington. There was plenty of sunshine as we cruised up the 101 on the Oregon coast, but as we got closer to Washington, the weather started to turn, and the clouds started to roll in. And this might sound cheesy, but Tillamook is our favorite cheese. After passing Tillamook, we still had 302 miles to go before we hit the RV park near Port Angeles, Washington. And this amazingly tall bridge is just one of many bridges and waterways as we travel up the Washington coast. Tell me, I ask you how long it's going to be, you say longer than I think. So I feel like we're in the movie Turbo. Just snail along here.
Let's go, people! Pick it up!
Driving the 101 in Washington makes me feel like a Duke boy. All the jumps. Yeah!
Like a piece of cake. Cut that one awfully close there, Hoss.
Just a driving too long on the 101. As we get closer to the lake, the rain starts to let up. There's a break in the clouds, and it hits me. The most beautiful lake I've ever seen. And as it turns out, Kay's parents traveled all the way up here to spend the next 3 or 4 days with us. And just when we got settled in, we already found a really cool trail right next to the RV park that had some beautiful scenery and a waterfall. The first thing you notice about Olympic National Park is just how green and lush it is. There seems to be water coming out of every direction you look, including the sky. It's been raining since we got here. And we only hiked about a half a mile down before we came across this, a perfect little oasis just nestled in the trees. So the next morning we got up and got an early start on the day. We had 3 things that we wanted to see in the national park. We wanted to do the rainforest, the famous Ruby Beach, and Soul Duck Falls. Now there's 2 ways to do the rainforest. You can either hike it or you can drive it. And you know which one I'm gonna pick. And when you open up your OnX app, this is what you'll see for the trails in this area. This is the trail that we're on right here. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it, but it's a 7-mile loop and it takes you up to the top of the mountain. Now, if you're looking for a trail that's a lot more technical, this is definitely not the trail for you. But if you're looking for a drive through the rainforest with beautiful views and lush forest, then this is the one you want to be on. And as we were coming around the corner, we ran into these guys. And they were definitely not shy. And for a while there, we thought they were just going to stay on the road, but eventually they jumped off and went into the bushes. So it was raining kind of on and off all day, and as we came around the corner it started to rain again, and then the trail got really tight. Okay. little damp back there, huh? This is definitely a rainforest. It is wet. Well, you definitely get a different perspective of the jungle from the car.
Oh, yeah.
Big pines, lots of ferns.
Yep.
As we got closer to the top of the mountain, I started to realize that this trail wasn't going to go all the way through like I thought it was. So we stopped up there, took a couple pictures, and just took in the view. The Olympic National Park is so big that it took us a good hour and a half to drive over to this next location. But once you see the place, you'll know exactly why we made the drive. Ruby Beach is located on the northwest corner of Olympic National Park. It's located just off the Highway 101 in Jefferson County, 27 miles south of the town of Forks. If you've ever dreamed of a destination where land, sea, and pine trees meet in a mesmerizing spectacle, then you definitely want to put Ruby Beach on your list of places to see. We're at Ruby Beach. It is a long ways away from our RV park, but so far the view is worth the drive. Well, Steve, is it everything you expected it to be?
So far.
This was on your list, right?
Yep.
Rainforest meets the beach.
Okay, rainforest meets the beach. So Ruby Beach gets its name from a red-colored mineral called garnet. It's basically a reddish-colored patch of sand that's particularly prevalent in this area. Now we got to the beach a little bit later in the day, and it was pretty crowded. So if you want this beach all to yourself, I'm pretty sure you're going to have to get up before the sunrise. The Soul Duck Valley is located just off the 101 and has many points of interest, but we just stopped at the first one that was available to us. These century-old giants of Olympic National Park's old-growth forest have become part of history. Many of these western hemlock and Douglas fir trees were thriving before Columbus set sail.
Where are we?
We are in an ancient forest. Since Columbus set sail in 1492, this forest has been growing and advancing in the ways of moss and tree. So Steve, would you say Pat and Nikki are missing out here?
Yeah, I wish they were here. Like, I miss them. And really, they are kind of missing out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Luckily, we can provide them with photo evidence.
Oh, they don't get to watch. I'm going to ban them from watching.
Man, that's cool.
That's right.
That is cool.
They're going to miss it all. The Indians provided this valley with the name Soul Duck, which translates to sparkling water.
Pure Spanish cruise. necessary.
Someone might take your beer, so you need a beer canister. Or is it a bear canister?
Smells so good right now.
It's got like, you can smell all the wood. I don't know.
Sweet
Nope, it's not that.
corn.
Yeah, it's got a really woodsy, I mean,
Not woodsy, sweet.
no woods. Even though we're in the woods, hints of pine is what we're getting here. Starting out at the parking lot, you walk about 1/8 of a mile through an old growth forest until you hit the waterfalls. Now it's getting close now. Do you feel it? I can hear it. I can hear something happening. Oh, that's cool. Little cabin over there. Look at that. We made it to the falls and it was worth it. That's amazing back there. You get 4 falls for 1 on this deal. Wow. Man, looking at these waterfalls had me completely inspired and filled with good, positive energy. Well, that was pretty invigorating. Big word I don't use very often. Invigorating, spectacular. Anything else you got, Steve? Ubiquitous. Wow. Do you have a dictionary? Now that we saw the waterfalls, we're gonna head over to Crescent Lake, and we've driven by it a couple times and it looks amazing. But now we're gonna stop and try to get some magic hour stuff, and then there's a place to eat. I don't know where that is. It is called what? Ah, got it. Wow, looking at this lake once again confirms my initial thoughts. This is the most beautiful lake I've ever seen. This historic lodge was originally built in 1915 as a hotel and tavern, and today it looks just as it did 100 years ago. In 1937, President Franklin D. Roosevelt spent the weekend here at Crescent Lake Lodge discussing a proposed bill to make this area the Olympic National Forest it is today. After visiting this lodge, I can totally imagine what President Roosevelt was thinking 100 years ago as he sat on this porch overlooking that lake as the sun was starting to set. And if you plan on eating here, you definitely want to call ahead and make reservations. But luckily for us, the bar was still serving food and cocktails. We're going to taste the forest. Oh, I smell the forest. Tastes like the forest. Yeah. Cheers, ching. This sunset marks our last day in Olympic National Park, and it has been a once-in-a-lifetime trip, and we can't wait to see what the next location has to offer. We started this channel back in April, and it's been growing pretty good in the last several months, so if you enjoy what you're watching, please subscribe. And as always, thank you guys for watching. On the next episode, we make a quick pit stop in Anacortes, Washington before making our way down to Mount Hood, Oregon. And we're really looking forward to getting back to our roots and doing some off-roading. If I had to guess where Sasquatch was hanging out, I'd say it's in here.